had always trusted my wife, Lauren, implicitly. For 8 years, I believed in our marriage, in the quiet moments of laughter, shared dreams, and unspoken understanding. But trust, I would soon learn, can be as fragile as glass, and when broken, it can cut deeper than anything else. It started with a gnawing sense that something wasn't right. Small things, late nights at work, hushed phone calls, unexplained absences. At first, I brushed it off, attributing it to stress or fatigue. But the unease persisted, growing heavier with each passing week. My instincts, finely tuned over years of partnership, told me to investigate. One evening, while Lauren was in the shower, I noticed her phone left unattended on the counter. My hands trembled as I unlocked it, not because I doubted my judgment, but because I feared the truth I might find. The messages that followed confirmed my worst fears. Lauren was having an affair. Explicit texts, photos, and conversations laid bare a betrayal I had never imagined. I felt anger, disbelief, and heartbreak all at once. Confronting her was inevitable. That night, after she dried off and dressed, I sat her down. "Lauren," I began, voice tight. "I know about him. I know about the affair." Her initial reaction was shock, followed quickly by denial, and then a fragile, defensive attempt at justification. "It's not what you think," she said. "It meant nothing. It was a mistake. I was lonely, and I cut her off." "A mistake? You've been lying, hiding, sneaking around." "That's not a mistake, that's betrayal," she faltered, realizing that the truth was no longer hers to control. In that moment, I made a decision. I would expose the affair, not for revenge, but to reclaim my dignity and prevent further deceit. The next day, I discreetly gathered evidence, messages, photos, and emails. I approached her lover, a man named Ryan, directly. I wanted him to understand that his involvement had consequences. When I confronted him, he reacted poorly. Anger flared instantly in his eyes, his posture aggressive, his words venomous. "Stay out of this," he spat. "This is between us." I remained calm, unshaken. "No, Ryan," I said firmly. "It's between all of us. You made a choice to involve yourself in someone else's marriage. That choice has consequences. You need to understand that I won't be intimidated." He lunged at me, fists raised, and I braced for the attack. Instinct and adrenaline kicked in, but I didn't flinch or back down. I blocked and sidestepped, maintaining control of the confrontation while keeping a clear boundary. My goal wasn't violence, it was to assert that I would not be bullied, threatened, or silenced. Ryan eventually backed down, realizing that his aggression would not prevail. I maintained my composure, and in that moment, I felt a surge of empowerment. I had faced betrayal, confrontation, and potential harm, and I had stood my ground without compromising my integrity or safety. The fallout was intense. Lauren tried to manipulate the narrative, casting herself as a victim of circumstance, attempting to redirect blame. But with evidence in hand and a firm stance, I exposed the affair to close family and friends. The truth, clear and undeniable, left her with no room to maneuver. In the aftermath, our marriage dissolved. Divorce proceedings were emotionally charged, but ultimately necessary. I refused to allow betrayal and deceit to remain unchecked in my life. The process was painful, yes, but it reinforced the importance of boundaries, self-respect, and accountability. Ryan faded from our lives. His reputation diminished by his actions and the confrontation that exposed his involvement. Lauren faced the consequences of her choices, the loss of trust, the end of our marriage, and the realization that betrayal carries tangible, often irreversible consequences. Months later, I reflected on the experience and the lessons it taught. Betrayal can shake you to your core, but how you respond defines your character. Standing firm, maintaining composure, and asserting boundaries are not acts of vengeance, they are acts of self-preservation and empowerment. I also learned the value of evidence, clarity, and decisiveness. By confronting both my wife and her lover with proof, I reclaimed control over a situation designed to undermine me. Exposure was not about humiliation, it was about reclaiming agency, asserting truth, and protecting myself from further manipulation. In time, I rebuilt my life. Friends and family offered support, and I engaged in reflection, therapy, and personal growth. I realized that betrayal, while deeply painful, can catalyze resilience, awareness, and a renewed sense of purpose. Lauren's choices, meanwhile, became a cautionary tale. The affair, the lies, and the attempt to intimidate me with her lover left a trail of consequences she could not avoid. Loss of trust, social scrutiny, and personal accountability became unavoidable realities. Her actions, motivated by selfish desire, ultimately cost her more than she anticipated. I emerged stronger, wiser, and more attuned to the values that matter in relationships: honesty, loyalty, and respect. Betrayal tested me, but it did not break me. Standing my ground against both my wife and her lover reaffirmed my boundaries and reinforced the principle that integrity cannot be compromised, even in the face of emotional devastation or physical threat. Looking back, I recognize that exposure was not only necessary, it was transformative. It allowed me to confront betrayal directly, assert my dignity, and reclaim control over my life. Confrontation, while intimidating, became an assertion of self-respect and empowerment. Ultimately, the experience taught me that betrayal can be survived and even leveraged to foster personal growth and clarity. Standing firm, asserting truth, and refusing to allow intimidation or manipulation to dictate one's choices is a profound act of courage and self-preservation. The story serves as a reminder: infidelity, deception, and aggression test the limits of trust and character. How one responds calmly, decisively, and with unwavering principles determines whether the experience becomes a source of empowerment or a lasting wound. I chose empowerment, and in doing so, I reclaimed my life, my dignity, and the future I was determined to protect.